Hey, Slandra, y'all. Welcome to another Tuesday night on Scotch on the Bayou Live. I'm Leanne. This is Scotch on the Bayou. We are all here to learn, to have fun, to chill, to enjoy some drams, and just catch up and see how things were since the last week. And last week's show was so fabulous. If you haven't had a chance to catch the show with Ty Phelps from Andalusia, please be sure to watch it on the replay because it was a font of knowledge all about the new category that's about to be codified by the TTB, hopefully anytime now, about American single malts. And so we're going to be doing a little bit more about that through this fall season. But tonight, we're going to take that a little different direction. And we're going to talk about, again, American made whiskey, but that is made in the Irish style. And of course, there is only one person I could find that knows all that she knows to help us with that. And we'll bring my guest in just a minute. First, I want to go to the chat and see all who we have. It's hey, Donner passes in. Hey, Leanne and Stacie. That's right. Stacie from Four Leaf Whiskey is my guest tonight. Really interested to learn more about this category. Me too, because there's so many similarities, but there's a major differentiation, and we kind of have an idea about what that flavor profile is like. For Irish whiskey, once it's made in the U.S., what are we going to get out of that? So, Kathy's in, can't stay, but she'll catch a replay. Thanks, Kathy, for popping in and multitasking, Sugar Kitty. I have no doubt you've got many plates spinning. Thanks for being with us. I appreciate it. Hey, Mr. Great Shots in, and Martin Whiskey Franco. Great to see you, friend. I hope you're getting all unpacked and settled in your big trip that you've been taking in the morning. Hey, Andrew from the UK, thanks for being here. With always is a font of knowledge as well, and shares it greatly with all of us. It's good to see you, friend. Jim Kimraddick is here. Hey, friend, and my friend Katie, good to see you. Thanks. I know you support both my channel and Stacie, and you're a super friend. So thanks, Katie. I hope we get to see you soon. Hopefully, like next week. So we'll see. Mark JG's in. Good evening, everybody. He sounds like he's pre-gaming and having fun. Daniel Hayes, speaking of some Irish, I know you've had a great time over there. Nice to see you, and thanks for being there. And then this fella, hey, howdy, y'all. Yeah, and Aslanji, y'all. You didn't have to do that, you know. So if you don't know, Time for a Dram, Gregor McQueen is the host of the Dram Face podcast, and I've binged them all weekend long. And I've laughed my tail off. He's so very good at that. So I feel like I'm picking up all the accents, all the accents and everything. John Kranz is in. Hey man, I haven't seen you in a while. Great, thanks for being here. So yeah, we're gonna talk about American whiskey made in the Irish style. And I want to go ahead and no delay more and bring on this fabulous person, Stacie from Four Leaf Whiskey up in Columbus, Ohio. How you doing, friend?
Good. Yeah, drinking Irish whiskey right on the edge of bourbon country.
You know, sometimes you just got to school them. I just don't know what to say. I literally live in a state where bourbon is a street. So, you know,
True.
I get as many as I can to come to the dark side, and which is neat. We're actually, I was talking Katie, I'm hoping that they can come down next weekend. Not this weekend, but the next week, the 7th, is our Louisiana Bourbon Festival. So it's our second year. We've been trying to do it for many years, but you know, that little pandemic thing kind of got in the way. But yes, we're doing that, and I'm leading a session on American single malts, and we're doing a a whole tasting on that and trying to get those bourbonites, as I call to come to the world of malt. So
There's some good American single malts out there.
there's just some amazing ones. And again, I can't not talk about Ty Phelps and Andalusia enough because they are. I think Andalusia for me is Talnua for you. That's what I think.
Probably, yeah.
So
I'm a wee bit of a fan, just a wee bit.
I am a fan girl. I can't even tell you. Yeah, I totally.
You can't tell. My glass even says Talnua on it.
Look at that. Look how big. And your shirt. I was telling everybody, like, can I get a you bet or a cheers or whatever? Is that not the color that Stacie should wear forever? That is just that deep crimson kind of red. That's a beautiful color. So she was so gracious. Nothing like saying, hey, you want to come on my show and talk about, American made Irish style whiskey? And by the way, what are they and what should I go get? And she sends you a package of them. So, and mad props for the UPS man that showed up today.
Yes. Thank you, UPS man. I was sweating it there for a little bit.
It was awesome. I think everybody was like, woohoo, the brown truck's here.
Yeah. It's delivered.
I know, but she sent not one, not two, not three, but four or five different expressions that we're gonna talk about. So, friend, tell me tell me which one we're gonna start with.
So we are going to start with Talnua. This is American single pot still whiskey, and this is a virgin oak cask. My camera will focus that much.
Yeah.
So this one, so I want to start. The funny thing about American Irish style whiskey, you're not going to find a whole lot that actually say Irish style, and there's a reason. It's either things that are only going to be made once, and you're never going to see them again, because what happens is they advertise and put Irish style on their label. And then they get a lovely letter from the Irish Whiskey Association lawyers requesting very adamantly that they stop doing that.
Okay.
Yeah. Ireland does not like it when American distilleries put Irish style on their label.
I can't see the SWA being real happy with saying Scottish style American whiskey,
Yeah, it'd be the same as if an Irish distillery made a bourbon style something. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're not going to find a lot. That being said, there are a lot of whiskeys out there that are reminiscent of Irish whiskey, and Talnua is one of the best examples of that. They're producing an American single pot still whiskey, but they're following Irish technical file for single pot still whiskey. So the owners of Talnua went on their honeymoon to Galway, and they tried some single pot still whiskey, absolutely loved it, and wanted to bring it back to the U.S., but give it a U.S. twist. So they're using locally sourced barley. This is a blend of 50% malted barley, 50% unmalted barley. They're using mountain water. So
they're in Colorado, right?
They're in Colorado. They're right outside of Denver in Arvada. This is then finished in a virgin oak cask. Yeah, it's a nice dark gold color.
That's really pretty.
Yeah, they age everything same as Irish, minimum 3 years. And I love the notes that you got. I love that, this is an American single pot still whiskey, but it's still, you get Colorado on it.
Yeah. There's a minerality on this big time.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if that's because of their water source.
That could be.
Man. So
this reminds me of almost like a spice cake.
Yeah.
With all the clove.
Yeah, heavy clove. I mean, not heavy clove, but definitely identifiable clove.
Yeah. So this one that I sent you is 43%. Talnua just brought this one back into stock, and now it's 50%. And moving forward, they're trying to get 50% on all of them.
Very cool.
It's so yummy. Unfortunately, their distribution isn't outside of Colorado yet. They are working towards that.
Let's see,
But
they
in
were
the
they
Denver
were at
area.
the Bastards Ball last year.
Yes.
And that was my first step into Talnua then.
So the other cool thing that they're doing, which it's not even releasing for 3 years, so I'm super excited already about it. They're doing an experiment with Bowan Distillery in County Meath in Ireland. And they took one of Bowan's historic mash bills and produced it. Bowan produced it, Talnua produced it. And the exact mash bill using local ingredients at each distillery.
Okay.
And they are aging the casks for 60 years. It's a single pot still. And then they're going to bottle 375 from Talnua bottled with a 375 from Bowan as a package. So you can see the climate difference for those two. Now, they already know there's a difference because Talnua had to make 8 casks instead of the 6 in Ireland because of the elevation and the dryness, the mountain air.
Yeah.
So they know the angel share is much greater there.
Right. Wow. That makes a ton of sense.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
But it's such a cool experiment that they're doing.
So I definitely get a malt on the nose, but it's a different kind of malt. And I'm guessing it's because some barley's malted, some barley's not, you know?
Yeah, there's almost like a grassiness.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the unmalted barley.
Okay. And a little bit of a tropical nose to it.
Yeah, I sometimes get some apricot on these.
Is that you dinging or me dinging?
That's me.
Okay. Just to make
Sorry,
sure.
I thought if I turned off the program that they would stop.
You're a wanted woman. Oh, it's light. It's got a little bit more of a sour, dry finish than I kind of thought it would.
Yeah.
I like it though.
I don't know if that's a virgin oak coming through on that.
Yeah. Some virgin oaks can be quite lumberyard. And it's a bless your heart you tried, but this ain't it kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
This is nice. I mean, I get a little bit of the spice from probably the virgin oak, but it's not too peppery, or it's very easy at 43. I can wonder with a little bit more heat at 50. Oof.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what that's going to be.
Let's see what else is. Hey, George. George is here. Hey, friend. Good to see you there. And
good. That gives me time to mute that so it stops dinging.
Cool. Hey, Trooper. Good to see you. You're drinking a single barrel Clyde Maize. Well, good for you. Hope you're on dry land for a change. He's usually out in the middle of the Gulf on a rig. Ahoy, mates, from our East Coast friends. Hey, Everwind, aka a bottle buyer. It's always good to have friends that can go and get you some things that you can't get. Do I hear it? So Donna Pass is asking, is real curious if the single pot still is being made in the U.S. So evidently so.
Yeah. Talnua is the first American single pot still distillery. They're the first distillery that was producing single pot, like just solely producing single pot still whiskey.
As opposed to a column still or doing adult. Okay.
Yeah. Or any kind of malt or anything like that. Yeah. They only produce, I think they have one where it's a blend. Yeah. They have one that's a blend with some Irish whiskey. But other than that, everything they produce is single pot still.
So they'll import the Irish whiskey to put in one particular expression?
Yeah. It's called the Heritage. It's one of their very first releases. Yeah.
Well, I would imagine they need to make something to make some money to keep going. And
yeah. Well, and they opened in 2018, so not long before they had to kind of close down again.
Yeah. Wow. Goodness. Yeah. Absolutely. So Andrew says, had stopped himself the other day from explaining the details to an Irish pot still to someone who didn't need to know. We've all done that.
That
We,
sounds like
we've
me in the liquor store all the time.
I mean, was with my brother this past weekend. We went to go see our cousin in Mississippi, and he went into this game store, and I went into a liquor store, and he came back, and when I came back out, and he said, "You could eat anything," and I was like, "Nah, no anything I needed in there." And he said, "Well, okay." So the next day, the meme of Ron, oh shoot,
Ron Swanson.
yes, yes. When Nick Offerman is, I'm just like, where it says he has a kind of grump face and he goes, "I know more than you." I was like,
Yeah.
me last night at at the liquor store.
Yeah,
I try not to overshare, but sometimes people just need
I
to
try
learn
not
the
to.
gospel,
I try not to as well. But then when the cashier recommends proper 12 to somebody, and I'm like, I just can't. Why? I just can't.
Step away, step away. Oh my gosh. Oh. So even Martin Whiskey Franco said that you were binging Dram Face podcast on your 14-hour drive. Pass the time wonderfully. It
Wow.
really does. So much so. I don't know if you listen to this to Dram Face. It's heavily
I
Scotch.
do, yeah.
Oh my god.
I don't get to listen as much as I would like to.
It's worth the binge. And there's these two women who own a shop up in north of Sterling or west of Sterling, Jen and Rachel. And I'm like, I have to meet them now. They are an absolute riot, and they absolutely keep Roy, Gregor, and Scott in their place. I love it. Absolutely love it. That's awesome. So that was really good. Very light, at 43%. And when I look at the ABVs on all these other ones, I'm like, hey.
Yeah. We're creeping up a little bit. We're creeping up.
So our next one is also a Talnua.
Yes. We're gonna do Talnua Old Saints Keep.
Old Saints Keep. Okay. Rearrange.
Yeah. Oh, focus. Darn it. So this is a release.
Gorgeous bottle.
Yeah, the bottle is so pretty. So they release Old Saints Keep every year on St. Patrick's Day.
Oh.
And every year they're different. This is a 2023 release, and this was finished in cognac. Oh, thank you. I got a couple of them. I picked this one up. I was at an event last summer at Talnua.
Gandy Road is in. Hey.
Hey, Gandy.
Nice. Thanks for being in. And Molasses. Hiya, Stacie.
Oh, hey, Molasses. I almost sent you, so they actually do have a Talnua expression too, and I didn't send you that one, but it's finished in a Lefroy cask.
Ooh.
It's very, very light.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. Does it come off pretty peated or just kind of a whiff?
No, it's just a wisp of peat. It's I think it's only like 40 or 41% ABV.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. But it's like Pokemon. I'm like, I gotta have them all, so I bought it.
I understand.
I've actually made some Irish coffee with it. It's been really, really good in Irish coffee.
Ooh, I bet it would be. Speaking of Pokemon, I was so proud of Joe Burrow because y'all may have him up there, but he's our guy. And he was talking about, he referred to himself as Incineroar or something. I was like, what is that? I had to look it up, and it was a Pokemon character. I was like, I love that he's such a nerd that he plays football and he's still a Pokemon nerd.
I grew up about 20 minutes away from where he grew up.
Wow, he's super guy.
Yeah,
no,
really.
He was frustrated last night. I stayed up and watched the whole thing. Yeah. Wow. Oh man.
Yeah. There's a reason these Old Saints Keeps are consistently my favorite.
Yeah. Gee whiz. So pot still, how many distillations is that going through?
This is going through a triple distillation.
Okay.
Typically, pot still goes through a triple distillation. Single malt in Ireland, they're starting to get, a lot of them are starting to get back into double distillation.
Okay.
But pot still, it still is triple. And since most IDL all does triple distillation on their pot still, so Patrick is kind of mimicking what IDL is doing. Even if you walk in the distillery, it looks like Method Madness with the three. As soon as you walk in the doors, you see the three huge copper pot stills.
Yeah.
In the back. So, and for those who like Green Spot is a 50/50 a malted barley blend. So
okay.
Yeah.
Man, I feel like I need a matrix for this. because all of that has an effect on the taste, right? I mean, whether it's malted or unmalted, the fermentation is going to be completely different depending on the bits.
Yeah.
Because of the sugar content in each, I mean, so I can see where all of that would have, an effect on it.
And on malted barley, you're going to get your grassy notes from it, your more herbal notes, a little spice. This one is really special. I believe these are 4 years old, and every year Patrick does a different finish on them. The one last year was a red wine cask that I can't remember the name of and probably couldn't pronounce, to be honest, but it was really, really good. And the year before that, I don't remember what it was finished. It might have been rum that it was finished in, but it tastes like Bananas Foster. It was so good. The 2020.
This is so on the nose, I'm getting total like a charred sugar.
Yeah, it's almost like creme brulee. I get kind of like creme brulee.
Yeah. I even talked about this last week. The crunchy bit on the top you break with the spoon.
Yeah, the crunchy sugar across the top.
Yeah.
But I feel I can get like the custard coming through a little bit too.
Yeah, but there's like, now I get more.
There's like baked apples or something, almost like, like when you pan like fried apples.
Yeah, I was thinking like those spiced peaches. Because, well, not as much. The first one had a whole lot more clove on it. I don't get the clove on this, but I get more of. To me, this is, and you see
a little more nutmeg on this one.
Yeah, I get more of like a an Oloroso sherry kind of hint to it. It's not that, but
yeah, a little bit of that, like the almond that you get with like an Oloroso.
This has a great mouthfeel, almost 3-dimensional.
Oh, yeah. I wish it would catch it in the camera. I mean, the amount of oil on the glass, it drips down the glass. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's so oily.
Yeah, quite viscous and it hangs around. Like it's like coating almost.
This one pairs with cigars really, really well.
I can see that. Do you get like a bit of can't tell if it's like bittersweet chocolate or cocoa on the back end on the finish. Just on the
I'm getting a little
exhale of the finish. So this is a special release, and so
like the semi-sweet chocolate, like chocolate chips.
Yeah. Hey. Great minds think alike. So as far as Talnua goes, they're in Colorado. They're only available in Colorado. Like, can you
currently? I mean, they are in stores around Colorado.
Okay.
They're working towards distribution. They know people want their whiskey. They're aware of that, but they just recently expanded. So in their building, they bought the suite next door and have brought in new mash drums and they're working on expansion. Wow. Currently, if you're in the Colorado, Denver area, go to their distillery. It's a beautiful distillery. If you're in liquor stores in Colorado, you'll find Talnua.
Man.
And you can order online and they will hold your delivery for you.
Okay.
So they pick it up at your leisure. Yeah.
They can't ship either. Okay.
No, they can't ship.
Yeah. Yeah, that's tough. So
I'm
many.
fortunate that I have friends in Colorado
Yeah.
who visit and bring me. I've got, like I said, I've got a bottle of the Virgin Oak has made it to Michigan and we'll be making it down its way down here.
You gotta do what you gotta do. Believe me.
Yeah. As soon as one of us heads out to Denver, they're bringing back basically a case from Talnoa for the rest of us.
Yeah. I've run enough whiskey along I-10 from Houston to play like
I'm the collection
bandit.
point. I'm the collection point in Columbus. I got stuff upstairs.
Oh, I imagine you've got all kinds of bourbon stuff for other people too.
Yeah. I've got a few Irish bottles upstairs for people. I'm actually going to see them next weekend to get them to them.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
And trade because they've got some of mine.
Well, Hang in Arizona says, "Hey, ladies.
Hey, Hanging Easy.
Good to see ya. Thanks for being here." Yeah. So, Donna's talking about very cool. Some same cask as that.
Yes.
So, what is the name of the distillery in Ireland that's doing this?
It's Boann Distillery. They're known for doing
right?
Boann. Boann.
Hey, okay.
And it's pronounced Boann. And they're doing they do the Whistler line of Irish whiskey, and then they have a whole lot of historic mash bills.
So, yeah, I think that is one of your particular interests too, is the whole history of mash bills.
I love how the history is going on.
You just get all in nerd mode on that. I love it.
and we actually got some exciting news last week because they've been fighting to get the single pot still technical file revised.
Okay.
Basically, they came out with it. It currently sits where they have to have a minimum of 30% malted barley, 30% unmalted barley, can't have 5% of any other grain. Well, it was just kind of arbitrary. Like, we got to put something down on paper at the time. Let's put this down. Well, the bulk majority of the people deciding that were people from Irish distillers. Well, they don't make anything with more than 5%. So yeah, let's just use whatever we're doing.
Yeah.
Historically, it's not what Irish single pot still is. So basically every other distillery in Ireland got together and created the Irish Whiskey Guild. They pulled in Fionnán O'Connor, who is an Irish whiskey historian, and presented it should be 30% unmalted barley, 30% malted barley, and up to 30% of another grain. And that was last year. And the government of Ireland finally said, okay, we're going to have public hearings on it, and we're going to take opinion in. And that's going to be the first step to actually changing that. So it's progressing in a great direction.
All right.
We're really hoping that I'm like, I don't know if they'll take opinion outside of Ireland, but yeah, all for it. Change it. Because historically there was a lot of rye, there was a lot of oat, there was a lot of wheat.
It was probably whatever they had. Because
it literally was whatever was growing on the farm and reasonably priced at the time.
Yeah. I mean, they were just like, those who had the still in the back by the barn, on the farm up in the Highlands or over in the, the moors of Ireland, where you grew grain, you had it left over, you didn't want it to go bad, you made some whiskey out of it, You just didn't just chunk that stuff. You made something out of it.
So hopefully that'll progress and get changed. In the meantime, we've got really great American single pot still that I'm hoping eventually, once they get the American single malt designation sorted, that the next step would be an American single pot still designation.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit. And let me know if you want to move. I mean, we're not speed drumming, and we're definitely going to go over a little bit. But, we talked about last week, the American Single Malt Commission, Single Malt Whiskey Commission with an E, whatever. Okay. But that, is the public opinion part has already passed on that. People, had all their opinions, and that is in front of the TTB now to be codified, and hopefully they'll be able to do that. And one thing I found interesting from Ty Phelps from Andalusia, when he was talking about that, and he was a founding member of that commission, is they are sitting on ready to use that category as a group of producers to majorly push that category. When you go into your local retailer, even your big box stores, you've got your bourbon aisle, and you've got rye, and you've got Scotch, and you've got blends, and you've got Irish. If you're lucky, you've got some differentiation between Irish, but
Mhm.
you have to pick in and amongst, or there might be this ambiguous American whiskey that could be any and
I've
everything.
seen it shoved with the Scotch because they don't know where to put it.
Yes, they don't know what to do with it. They
Yeah.
really don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
But this, having that codified and saying that is a sanctioned category adds to the validity. It adds marketing bolster. It is all of these things to get, hey, now it's time to do some education. Take that on your side of the flavor profile. What are the producers that are making this traditionally Irish type whiskey? What are they doing here in the States?
Well, they're meeting together, and there aren't a lot of American single pot still distilleries. I know that Patrick Miller at Talnua has met as a group. Brian Nation from O'Shaughnessy, they've also gotten together and had the meeting, and they're just trying to right now they're brainstorming as to okay, let's all put down a set of regulations we would agree with. Like this is what American single pot still should be. And that's the starting point. I do think they've got a better shot here. The problem over in Ireland is you're still up against the Irish Whiskey Association, which was the original governing, group. But the problem is Irish Whiskey Association, that's Irish distillers. So that's your Padova Ricard, that's your Vervo,
big boys.
That's your Beam Suntory, Diageo. Those are your big names that, well, why would they want to change it?
Right.
Right now, the regulation is what they're making, and your stuff can't be called single pot still. It has to be called mixed mash bill or just Irish whiskey.
Right.
So the lucky thing is that there are so many distilleries now in Ireland, and they formed their own group, and there's so many of them now that it's kind of taken hold, and they've got historical significance to show that 5% is not historically accurate. So
wow,
hopefully. We're moving in there. It's a slow process. You don't realize the red tape until you see it all play out. It's a very slow process to get these changes and these guidelines for whiskey made. And unfortunately, American Single Malt is, I think, running in the same thing because they've been working how long to try to get regulations? It's been so long.
A good long while because hey, Majors, good to see you.
Just like everything in, there's red tape even with whiskey.
Hey, Peter, good to see you too. The one glassman. Good to see you. Tulane Law, 1990. How about that? Go Green Wave. That's about the only time you'll ever hear me say that, buddy. Diehard Tiger fan here. Thanks for being on. Yeah.
I know I saw Peter comment that I was probably sad Notre Dame lost. So like, I'm in Columbus, Peter. I wouldn't root for Notre Dame for that game.
But yeah, Major Zero, good seeing you. Nice to meet you the other day.
Major Zero, I actually did a video on some options for Irish whiskey. It's budget Irish whiskey at under $50, and all of it can be found in the US. So there's outside of like Jameson, Tullamore Dew, and those regular brands that everybody knows about.
Cool. So I'm on to the next one. I'm sniffing it for sure.
All right.
It's so good. Well,
the next one we're getting, this is a little fancy.
Oh, that's a wooden box, huh?
This is a wooden box. This was a special edition that they said they'll never have again. I think partly because this box is a pain in the where to make.
Yeah. Oh wow. Dun dun dun.
Yeah. So this is Talnua port finish.
Port. You hear that, Mark JG? Port.
So this was a special release they did last year. And this was to celebrate 125 years with Colorado Parks and Recreation because the Talnua logo has the ram.
Okay.
So this is locally sourced Colorado barley. This is Eldorado spring water. This is a port cask finish from a Colorado winery.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So they went all local with it. They raised $12,500 for Colorado Parks and Wildlife.
Oh,
It's all the proceeds of the bottle went
That's
to benefit
fantastic.
Colorado Parks and Wildlife.
I love it when our local club here, the Bourbon Society of Baton Rouge, we lovingly call ourselves a charity club with a drinking problem. Because we raise a ton of money. And our bourbon festival next week, the Louisiana Bourbon Festival, it actually raises money for Alzheimer's. But we'll do like all kinds of different things. And we do a big our big raffle at the end of the year is all for Toys for Tots. And I just love the fact that people will, get behind something like that, get behind a bottle like that. And say, yeah, I'm probably going to pay a maybe even a $20-$30 premium for it. But I know where that money's going to go and it's going to like benefit something. So cheers for that, Telnua. Oh man. So I do like me some port finish. Tawny port, ruby port, white port. I came home with the Campbelltown Festival release, which was a lightly peated white port.
Oh. Yeah, this is from, if anybody wants, this is Balistrari Vineyards in Denver.
Okay.
So it's their port wine.
It's got a real floral nose.
It does have a really floral nose. Almost like violets.
Yeah, and a little violet lilac kind of.
Yeah,
which we don't get it down here. I mean, we can't grow lilac or nothing.
So I love my lilac tree. It's in my front yard. It's actually a piece off of a lilac that my great grandmother planted.
Oh,
yeah.
So I do have great envy because you can grow things like lilacs, and my all-time favorite, which would be a oh shoot, I can just see it. A peony. Those are my favorite flowers. Or
I love lilacs. Peonies, they draw ants up here. So
yeah, they do, but they're so gorgeous. I can't get over this. I could just sit here and nose this.
Oh, I know. This is what I'm like. I wish it was a candle.
So there's
so
a
many
little
whiskeys. I'm like the nose. I'm like, I wish it was a candle.
So,
like figs.
What did you just say? Fig?
I get figs.
Yeah. I get fig a lot on ports, a little fig Newtonish.
Yeah.
But a lot of ports, like there's a very well-known Speyside whiskey that has a portwood finish. Not my favorite, and it's expensive, but it smells like wine. Like it's, to me, it's overdone.
Yeah.
And I just want something that's going to complement
plums too a little bit, like fresh plum.
And the ABV on this one?
This is 50%. What was I? Yes, 50%.
Man. Yum. So, Everwin, Chris is asking, actually enjoying the dark silky. You taught me about that.
I love the dark silky, yeah.
Not super complex, but very enjoyable. Peated Irish whiskey blend.
The Midnight Silky is another good one. That one is finished in an imperial stout cask.
Oh, okay.
I have both of those, yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, Andrew's talking about the ladies from the Grail. That's the name of the shop. These Jen and Rachel. I asked Gregor tonight. It's like, how weird would it be if I sent them and says, "I'm really big fan, really would like to meet you." By the way, I know Gregor and Roy, I'm not a weirdo. Well, sometimes, but it's socially acceptable at any rate. That's for sure. Um, mm, yes, thank you, brother, for telling me. So Joe Burrow said he was Incineroar, which is the firefighting cat Pokemon that looks like a tiger. Yeah, which totally tracks for him. And yeah, shout out to Joey B. Which I love. If you catch, he still wears his LSU wristband. Catch
I've
that
noticed
purple.
that.
Oh yeah, he and Chase, my boo. Oh man, this is really good. Still very perfumey on the nose.
I love the port finish on this, but you still do get that Colorado barley coming through.
Yeah, and you still and the. I don't know if it's the water or if it's more of a um distillate character of that minerality. But it's like a little hard waterish, like not
Yeah,
it's not watery, but you know how you kind of get that hard
yeah.
water, like when you
It
drink hard
reminds
water.
me, I get it in Bushmills sometimes
Okay.
because they have like a volcanic water source. They get their water from the river Bush, from a tributary.
Okay. That makes sense. So again, Chris is wanting to know, does it taste like an Irish light buttery? Didn't mention if it's triple distilled. Yeah, this all is.
It does have some similarities to Irish single pot still, but is still inherently Colorado.
Yeah. This
It's
is
it's more malty cereal.
and I feel like it has like I find some Irish and let's be real, my level of drinking Irish is not this woman's level of drinking Irish. So what I've had exposure to is more lighter spirit, might have some of that buttery. This has depth to it. There's a lot. This is pretty complex
Yeah.
um for up against some of the other Irishes I've had that were kind of your run of the mill. And I say that run of the mill of a maybe like a core expression kind of
Yeah, like a
like
Jameson.
Glenlivet 12 version of
Yeah.
Irish. So
Yeah, I think what they've done there, I think is remarkable. I think you could put their whiskey on par with a Redbreast 12. I can tell you, if you go to Ireland, a couple bars, you will find Talnua on shelf.
okay,
Some of it
that's
is
good.
managed. Some of it has managed to make its way over there, and they do enjoy it.
Oh man, very very good. Hey Matt, when I'm back in Victoria, you better be in Victoria, man. When I get there, you have to try the Macallan's Kildare triple distilled Canadian pot still whiskey. Won best pot still whiskey at the World Whiskey Awards. Wow. All right, I'll be going back and checking that one out for sure. Um, and Mark Honey, if you could, go out and I can't pull this thing up that I was trying. We want to make sure everybody please go and subscribe to Four Leaf Whiskey if you have not already.
Thank you.
Mark, if you can put the URL in the chat at some point this evening, or Ethan, if you can get it, but it's Four Leaf Whiskey with an E. I'd appreciate it. Follow her on Instagram. You're gonna find.
I had to change my channel name. I actually had this. I had to add the space between Four and Leaf, and it didn't used to be because I got nominated for that award for the Irish Whiskey Industry Awards, and they put the space in there. I'm like, well, I guess I'm a space now.
Whatever works. Now tell us about the award.
I got nominated for Independent Brand Ambassador this year for the Irish Whiskey Industry Awards.
The Irish Whiskey Industry Awards, folks. Yeah. Congratulations. That's a big deal.
I guess I have an E now, or a space between Four and Leaf now.
You do.
I threw everybody off at first into that.
When like whatever you want, folks. I'll talk about you all day long. That's okay.
This is me now.
Yeah, NC's in. Hey, friend, good to see you. Thanks for coming in. I was seeing who else had some stuff. Goodness gracious. Okay, I'm gonna move off of this one, but I'm definitely coming back to it.
I know those last two. I love to just smell the glass a couple hours later.
I never ever I never do my dishes at night after a show. Hey, Loch Ness, great seeing you. We could be here probably a little bit more than 15 minutes. We got 2 more drams to go.
And
And
the proof is
unless
going
you
up.
want to see Leanne and Stacie get adorable, we're not going to be speed dramming these. I mean, more adorable than we already are. Let me just say that. So, oh, now for something completely different.
Yeah. Now we're going completely different direction for Irish style American whiskey.
Wow.
So we are going. This is totally bourbon. And this is Kentucky Owl St. Patrick's edition.
So it's a bourbon.
This is a bourbon, 100% a bourbon.
Bourbon.
The Irish twist on this is that Kentucky Owl brought in Louise McGuan to pick the cask and blend this bourbon. Louise McGuan is the owner and master blender of J.J. Corey Irish whiskey. So this bottle, right? Those two, right?
Yeah. There. Okay.
Yeah. So she's a whiskey bonder.
Okay.
In Ireland. So she procures sources casks from different places. And she sorts them not necessarily by type, but by flavor profile. And all of her releases are known to be big fruit bombs.
Okay.
So they brought her in and had her pick casks and blend this whole thing together. And it actually, if you put them side by side with her whiskey, the Gale, it's pretty similar. You get a lot of the same notes.
What is that?
It's a very, very fruity bourbon.
Yeah. So it's by definition bourbon. So
it's by definition bourbon.
We got some corn up in here.
Yes, it is.
We know what the mash bill is.
Oh, I don't know if I don't know if Kentucky Owl tells you.
We've got
no, they didn't tell me.
Deathless Dogs in, Jimmy Jazz is in.
Hey, Dan.
Lana, another woman who knows her Irish. Hey, friend. Thanks for being in. Baker Drinks is in. But there's still a little bit of like a lemongrass on it too.
Yeah, I get some lemon on this. I get a little spearmint.
Baker Drink says he hasn't poured his Kentucky Owl since he bought it. Thank you for joining us. If we can corrupt you to open a bottle, that's a good night.
So there is a note I get on this that I do get on other JJ Corey, and that's almost like juicy fruit gum.
Huh? Like on the nose or taste?
On the nose. So it's thinking like a juicy fruit gum. So you get that sugar, you get the vanilla, you get all that fruit that goes with it, like the citrus and a little bit of banana.
But there's like that chalky kind of smell too, like I call it gunpowder, or whatever. That's that keeps it from sticking to the wrapper.
Yeah,
that kind of like white stuff. Yeah, the craziest things. The way that we make connections. That's crazy.
No, I did that the other day. I got I got a bottle of Two Stacks Irish whiskey. It's a raspberry brandy finish. And as soon as I tasted it, I'm like, thumbprint cookies. Thumbprint cookies with a little raspberry jam on top.
Oh my gosh.
And now everybody's like, oh my God, that's right. It's just thumbprint
cookies. Do you have Trader Joe's up there?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So they have those shortbread raspberry star, or sometimes they're stars, sometimes they're hearts.
I'm gonna have to go get some.
Oh, a friend. Yeah. But it's shortbread. So you get the oil from
you gotta get the butter off of it. Yeah. It's not buttery and greasy, it doesn't count.
Oh gosh.
But this is just such a fruity bourbon.
It's a bourbon. But man.
There's like some banana, some apple.
Yeah. It's like a fruit salad.
Yeah.
It really is. And it's
so that's what happens when you let an Irish whiskey bonder loose in your rickhouse. You end up with a bourbon.
In and just started tasting different things to where she had that profile of what she wanted in her head.
Yeah.
Was it necessarily what she wanted to replicate Irish style, or she
Yeah,
just liked
she
this?
wanted to bring kind of Irish style and what her brand represents, which is all the fruity flavors that you can get in
Mhm.
Irish whiskey. She was trying to replicate that in bourbon.
Okay.
And if you, like I said, if you pair her kind of flagship JJ Corey the Gale next to this, you can get some similarities. You can get some similar notes. So I'm like, I could definitely see the connection there.
Man, I have that kind of nose and taste. So Jim Camraderick said that he did an event with
Oh, you went
Louis.
to the story company with the
Yeah.
I bet he
Yeah,
got a
that
ball of the
was the thing.
gathering.
Was that the thing I sent you about?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, he's right there in their backyard.
Yeah, I've been talking to Louise for probably the past year because she does a lot of events and a lot of stuff in Ohio as well.
Oh, that's awesome. Mm-mm. So he
I
said
heard
that
that bottle is very, very good. Oh, the Flintlock.
the Flintlock
That's
and
a
this
good one.
release is 21 years.
That's
Mm,
a good one.
mm. So when you say she's a bonder, are you? I mean, is she an independent blender and bottler,
Yes, she
or
doesn't distill anything.
okay? So she
Yeah, she
does
said
she
her
buy Ross like straight distill it and then puts
no,
it in her own cask?
she sources casks
Oh, okay, gotcha.
from different places and then just blends all of them together until she gets what she wants and releases that as her whiskey
And under the JJ Corey name.
under the JJ Corey umbrella. Yeah. So you might have like one of those the bottles right up there.
Yeah,
There could
pretty.
be. I think the Gale has whiskey. I want to say, if I remember right, it's between like 12 and there's some 28-year whiskey in it.
Wow.
So she'll put a splash of this and a little of that until she gets
Okay.
what she wants. And she'll source cask.
And
So she'll be this
yeah.
cask. Well, this is this one is real pineapple-y. Well, it might be a 10-year whiskey, it might be a 28-year whiskey. But if she's looking for, to add pineapple to something, she'll take a little of that. So
Okay.
it's really interesting how she does everything.
Hmm.
She also she had releases through this whiskey club I'm in, and she got permission from the Irish government to finish casks at O'Brien's Tower at the Cliffs of Moher.
Wow.
Yeah. So I have a couple of those.
So I immediately my head goes down the rabbit hole and was like, so how close was it to the water? How long was the finishing? Did it catch any salt? Did it catch any,
Yeah.
like all of those things just
I
like
mean, you can't
immediately
get
go
much
through my
closer to
brain.
the water. It was what 20 yards, 20 feet to the edge. I mean, it's right there. There was I kind of wonder what that constant breeze does.
Man, this is tasty.
Now, the Irish government, according says, yes, you can call that whiskey. Problem is taxation. Taxation comes in and says, nope, that's not a bonded whiskey warehouse. Even though you got permission to do it, you have to call that whiskey, not Irish whiskey.
Oh man,
it's the silliest stuff.
Follow the money. If you want to know what power is, just follow the money. I don't care what country you're in. That'll do it. So I get a little bit of spearmint at the end on this.
I get a little spearmint. There's a little bit of rye in that.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow. That's so interesting.
It's interesting. If for bourbon drinkers, it's really unique because it is different than a lot of bourbon. It's fruitier than a lot of bourbon you're going to try.
So Martin Whiskey Franco says, I want a rundown of those Redbreast bottles behind Stacie. That might be a whole nother show. We just go through Stacie's stash.
Quickly, that's
a name for a segment you should do. Stacie's stash. The things that you don't know that she has. We all have a stash.
You can't see cut out. There is the Redbreast Christmas cake. It was the Middleton Barrel Club release.
Oh my gosh. So this is our 5th dram. We're just normal, adorable, not over the top adorable. So I do have to say, like, mad props. And I took the tape off.
All my green tape.
Yeah. So look how cute You know, and labels are. I just love it. And
I
then
was so excited I could actually find green tape to put on the top of them.
she had green electrician tape like around the top of them. They were so pretty. I'm like,
So
look at you,
we
Brandon.
are doing Keeper's Heart. So this is Irish American. This is the Virgin Oak single barrel.
Okay.
So Keeper's Heart, most people have probably heard of them. It's a newer distillery, opened 2021 in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Okay.
Their big claim to fame, and the reason everybody knows about them, is they managed to hire away Brian Nation from Middleton Distillery in Ireland.
Wow. That was a coup.
Big deal. Yeah, pretty big deal. Their goal is to use Midwest grains, triple distillation, copper single pot stills to create an American version of Irish whiskey. This is sourced. They're not there yet. This one is a blend of American whiskey and Irish single pot still whiskey and Irish grain whiskey. And then has been further finished 5 months, I want to say, in virgin American oak casks.
Okay. So 2 different whiskeys, a grain and
3
malt.
different whiskeys.
No, so but from Ireland.
Yeah. 2 different from Ireland.
2 from Ireland, 1 from the US.
Yeah.
Wow.
So O'Shaughnessy opened 2021. It's actually a perfect location because it used to be a potato processing plant.
So they don't make vodka.
It used to be a potato processing plant, and that's our distillery now. They just signed an agreement, so they're the official whiskey of the Minnesota Twins.
Okay.
And they just hired another big name from Ireland, Ger Garland, who was the brand ambassador for Irish Distillers, is now the international global brand ambassador for O'Shaughnessy Distilling.
Okay.
So they have hired 2 huge names from Irish distillers. So you're going to start seeing these a lot. The one I sent you, a lot of the stores around the Minneapolis area do single cask, and sometimes O'Shaughnessy does single barrel releases all the time. Okay. So this is one of those. But this one, yeah, we're going up to 55% ABV.
55. Yay.
So they have their core Irish and rye, which actually is really, really good in an old fashioned. It's good for a hot toddy. I think it's like $30. It's reasonably priced.
Oh man.
Yeah. They did an Irish and bourbon. They did an Irish and rye 100 proof. They've got a cask strength out now. They've got 110 proof. So they're expanding that range while they're, bringing in revenue while they're waiting on their stuff to age. Which I hope it aged well because I have a cask share there.
Oh wow.
I do have 1 bottle there of that cask share. So make it good, Brian. Appreciate it.
We're all counting on you.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. It's definitely a little bit hotter than the other.
So I get anise on the nose on this big time.
You get what?
Anise.
Usually I'm very avert to that. I don't know. Maybe we were talking before the show. Both of us are a little sinusy.
Yeah.
That may be
I love anise, and that's a note I love on whiskey. And that's love it.
You come down here and drink absinthe. That's all the rage in New Orleans,
Oh yeah. That's a little too much.
I get. Yeah. So
oh yeah, everyone, here you go. This is Keeper's Heart.
So is that distributed outside of Minnesota?
Yes. This specific one was done for a liquor store in Minnesota, but the regular Keeper's Heart is distributed many, many states. I know Total Wine carries it a lot of places. The Irish and rye and the Irish and bourbon are several different states.
So the American part of this, is it malted, unmalted? Do we know what?
It does not say. Let me see.
Wow.
Try to see if it says. It does not say. Usually, I found I do know that it's MGP.
Okay. Yeah, because when you
I
said
believe that is where they're
that
getting
part is
all of
sourced.
their
When did they
where they're
start?
getting all their American whiskey is MGP.
But they're distilling, right?
They're distilling, but they
Their
don't have
stuff's
anything
not
old
ready.
enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't have anything old enough
When
to
did
release.
when did they start? Like,
2021.
oh
So
wow,
right
they're a baby.
Yeah, right before the
Okay.
pandemic.
So
So
I wanted
all
to
of
go.
this stuff that they've sourced and are just keeping the revenue stream coming in.
Sure. I mean,
Because
we've got a
Nation
couple.
ain't cheap.
Yeah,
Couldn't
we've
have
got
been
a
a very
couple
cheap
of
salary to pay.
yeah. We have a couple distilleries down here. I mean, one of a really great distillery that's making all kinds of things, Sugarfield Spirits, and they sourced coming straight out of it. So
I do think there's some rye in here because I almost got like a dill note.
Yeah. So I poured a little bit more of the Talnua, the 43, and I know the ABV is, I mean, we're 12 off, but it was also virgin oak. This was finished in virgin oak, though, you said, right?
The Talnua is going to be better.
Huh?
I think the Talnua is going to be better.
It's very different nose.
It's hugely different. They're night and day. Yeah, it's crazy.
Because I had it covered. I've been covering
everything.
everything.
But there's some grain. Well, I mean, there's some grain.
There's grain in here. You can tell there's grain in this keepers.
I mean, outside of the American whiskey that's in it, there's Irish grain whiskey, which is likely corn, wheat.
But it's pretty balanced. It's not.
I like it.
A nice little sweet finish.
And it's probably younger, honestly. The whiskeys in it are younger. So I do get that little bit of that alcohol burn, but I like it. I think it's when you're trying to balance American and Irish together in the same bottle, I think they do a pretty good job.
Yeah. That's pretty bold of them too, to mix that up.
Like I said, I keep a bottle of the regular Irish and rye. It's like a 43%. I use it. I like hot toddies. It's really good hot toddy just with a squeeze of lime, a couple cloves. I made old fashions with them.
I bet that would be interesting.
Yeah.
We've got to wait till like December, at the end of December for hot toddy weather down here. It was 94 today.
We're a little early already. We're getting it out in the 50s at night.
Wow, I'm gonna go back and revisit that Talnua virgin oak.
So in both Talnua and O'Shaughnessy, you can visit them. They have tasting rooms.
Yeah.
I can tell you Talnua, Patrick's happy to take everybody on a tour. I tell everybody who goes on a tour there, make sure he shows you the Boan casks.
Okay.
The casks are back there and they're real dark and they're in a little corner.
Yeah.
So that was one of the pictures I made sure to get is my picture with the Boan casks.
So I'm sure Whiskey Franco Martin can back this up, but Denver's a wonderful place to go for whiskey and of course beer. We took a trip with another couple years ago. In 2019, went and did Boulder and kind of took a big loop around Netherland, Frozen Dead Guy area, and then back into Golden and went to Red Rocks for one night.
So pretty.
Which is my favorite of all time. Favorite of all time. But we went to Stranahan's. So for my friend Matt and Maddie and I, we wanted the hard liquor. And then for Matt and Mark, they wanted the beer. So we went to Left Hand and we went to all these other craft breweries. And I mean, but that was before Talnua was going at all. So we just camped out at Stranahan's for American Single Malt.
I like Stranahan's. Stranahan's had the Bushmills cask finish.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. But yeah, so and Martin says, yeah, for sure. Talnua's
they have some great cocktails there. Yeah, I was there last summer over 4th of July weekend. I was lucky to co-host an event at Talnua. They released their which is the world's, well, America's first American single pot still whiskey that was certified as bottled and bond.
Okay.
So they took this cask and did all the registration and followed all the rules and got it certified as bottled and bond.
Wow.
It's
Which,
really good.
so Talnua was that for single pot still?
Yes.
Okay.
First
Andalusia was
American
that.
single pot still whiskey that's certified as bottled and bond.
Andalusia was that for American Single Malt.
For American Single Malt.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's actually one of the bottles that I'm going to do for a tasting for the Louisiana Bourbon Festival for that American Single Malt session.
I might
take their bottle
one. So the same weekend is Bourbon on the Banks in Frankfort, Kentucky, and I'm going down, meeting up with a bunch of channels, and I'm taking whiskey down. Actually, Cologne gave me a bottle. He said, "Here's an extra of this. Share it." Great. And it's a peated tawny port.
Oh,
so yeah, I'm like, I'm gonna. I already have some port for you. I've got some port.
I'm just saying.
Yeah,
I'm a port fiend. I can't stand it. I can't tell it.
Yeah, so I'm taking that down, and I think
how fun! There's so many things that weekend. It's the Bastards Ball, Louisiana Bourbon Festival, Nashville's Bourbon Festival is that weekend.
That's a busy weekend.
Yeah, so, and then so the Friday, the Thursday before that, the 5th of October in Nashville is the Women in Whiskey big event all day. So I think that's something that I would love. I'm gonna put a bug in your ear now. Maybe 2024, we all need to be there.
I think that
would be kind of fun. And then maybe you need to come down here in March for the New Orleans Bourbon Festival. So
when is it in March?
3rd week in March. So
as long as it's not the 17th.
No, it's the week after.
Okay, then I'm
always the week after. It's always the week after.
I'm in a parade that day.
You are the parade. Are you kidding me? Everybody's going to show up to see you. So, what do you think future wise? I mean, you've got a stronghold for Talnua has a stronghold in this. You got basically distillery led legislation type category definition happening. Do you see more American distilleries kind of going into this? Do you see an idea of like some of the big guys getting into it, kind of like Diageo buying a Balcones?
I think that's probably a direction it's going to go. I think that some of these distilleries that are doing it well are going to get snapped up. I don't know if Talnua has any interest in that right now, but a Keeper's Heart, I could see it getting snapped up by a big name.
No, they're using big name talent already.
Yeah, they're already positioning themselves to be, widespread distribution. I could see that happening. I think they will once they get that designation. I think it's establishing a new category of American whiskey.
Yeah,
and you've got people who are doing it really well right now, and are going to. And I know, obviously, Brian Nation's going to continue. He might know what he's doing, after so many years at Middleton. Yeah. So I think it's going to continue. I think especially after American Single Malt gets theirs, I think American Single Pot Still is going to be next on the list.
Yeah. I'm hoping it happens for them this year or early next year, because it's going to take a load of education to get, because some people they get in their rut and they're going to drink what they're going to drink. And I think, especially trying to get younger adults, and people that are just into that realm of understanding what's something beyond bourbon. And I say not beyond bourbon in the sense, no slight on bourbon, but it's so plentiful.
No,
right?
I mean, no offense.
No, none at all.
Bourbon down. Try something else.
Yeah. And in my defense, I'm actually drinking some bourbons and I'm learning to like them, because I had my preconceived idea.
The same here. I mean, people shared with me. I've bought several bottles of bourbon now, and I have a lot of bourbon I enjoy.
Check out our Instagram account.
Yeah.
You'll see.
Yeah, there's several on there, but I like different things. Sometimes I'm not in the mood for a bourbon. Sometimes I want to pour Stranahan's. I want to pour, Westland.
Right. Well,
and they're really great whiskey, and it's I think once people try a lot of them, because I don't think they're regionally so different. Virginia
yeah,
Distilling Company versus Stranahan's versus Westland, they're so different.
yes. So, and
Versus Andalusia.
that's a big part, that the regionality. I
Mhm.
really believe they'll end up having almost regional tasting profiles, much like Scotch
I
and
think that's the
Spud.
direction we're going. I think in the U.S., I think we're going to
Yeah.
start branching off regionally.
Yeah, because there's something very, very different in the maturation in the
Yeah.
Pacific Northwest as opposed to Waco, Texas,
Oh yeah.
as opposed to the hills of Virginia, or even upstate New York. I mean, it's very, very, very different.
That's why I love
Um,
that experiment that Talnua is doing. It's
yeah,
2 different countries, and honestly, you could do the same thing in the US. You could take the same mash bill and mature it in New York, mature it in Ohio, mature
right.
it in Colorado, Texas, the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
You're going to get every single one of them is going to be different. Every
Well,
single one.
my friend Bill Hensley, he's about to leave to go over to Isla for the Isla Whiskey Academy. Finally gets to go this year. I'm so happy for him. But he would like a distillery to do an experiment with peat from every state in the nation, because there is peat everywhere.
Oh
It's
yeah.
different types of peat, but the peat in South Louisiana is a lot different than the peat that they use in a small plot of land in Washington State for
Yeah.
Westland. You know,
Yeah.
there's vegetation's very different.
Oh.
You'll have a place that's just all conifer type,
Mhm.
pines and different things like that, as opposed to, swamp stuff.
Yeah.
So, I would even say probably not so much because of the marine part, but the vegetal area. Like I Louisiana peat might even be somewhat comparable to a light Isla, not
I
a
think
heavy
so.
marine, not a
Yeah.
heavy
You've got a little bit of that. I mean, I would imagine that's going to have some of that brine.
it does depending on where you are, but like if you got it out of Cameron Parish, you're gonna be closer to the Gulf as opposed to where our camp is, which is all freshwater, but it's got stuff for days, I mean, so I love that idea of it, and kudos to those brave enough to say, "Hey, let's start a distillery and let's do it this way,"
Yeah.
And so the Talmuda people, you were saying, they just went on their honeymoon and said, "Hey, we like this
They
red
went
bread
on
stuff.
their
Let's go
honeymoon to
back home and
Galway.
make it."
They were sitting in a pub watching rugby
Were
on their
they
honeymoon, and
were
were
they
trying single pasta whiskey.
any way, shape, or form in the industry beforehand?
Yeah, yeah, he was at Stranahan's.
Oh, that's right. Okay, okay. So at
And he
least
still does help Stranahan's now and then. Yeah.
yeah. So at least he knew something about
Oh, yeah,
about
as
a
soon as
skill.
we said we're going to Stranahan's also on a tour, he's like, "Tell him Patrick sent you." So, all right.
That'd be a good one. Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense. Back to Ty Phelps, last week, he came from brewery, a beer brewing, craft
Yeah.
brewing. So he just took the beer, the wort, and made it his wort to then go ahead and distill it. So
I mean, it makes sense. I mean,
yeah,
honestly, they're big names. Isn't Coors doing that now?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You know, it's kind of crazy. Man, I've learned so much. Everybody, did you learn so much tonight? This is kind of crazy. Um, yeah. So trying to get out there, those bourbon heads, I call them bourbonites, to branch out and struggle, but it is.
It is.
It's like,
Yeah,
come
and
on, dark
honestly, a
side.
lot of it, the price tag sometimes gets them. And
You know, yeah, and I
I remind them, you know what? Getting stuff here from Ireland and Scotland ain't cheap.
and I also say look at the economics of the resources.
Yeah.
Corn's cheap.
Yeah.
As opposed to, some a barley. I mean,
Yeah.
and then what you have to
Yes,
do with
this
the barley.
distillery has been doing it for a long time in the Kentucky, and it's really good.
Yeah.
These guys over here have been doing it since the 1600s.
Yeah.
It might be worth a try.
Might have something going over there. And
You
it's
might
not
like
all
it.
peated
You
for
might
God's
like it.
sake.
Well, it helps that there are so much more cask strength versions
Yeah.
available now too.
Yeah.
That helps.
I mean, I know a lot of bourbon folks like their whiskey hot, and like a higher ABV. We got plenty of that in my category and yours.
Oh yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
There's a lot more of it out there now.
There's
Wow.
lots of them on my shelf. There's lots of them on your shelf.
I have to really look to find something that's well, other than Bushmills, that's 40%. It's
Yeah,
tough
I got a
now because
couple of old
everything's higher.
stragglers, but even some of my, like, I've got an Enoch 12 that's like 43, but if you're in the UK, it's 40. And it's really chaps that we get that extra 3%.
Powers gold labels like that. We get it here for 43. The regular Powers over there is 40. They have to get the distiller's cut.
Yeah.
It's 43.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Chris has a good point. In a crowded shelf space at a liquor store, it will have to be pretty good to penetrate and to get past, the Beam Centauris, the Diageo.
Well, we don't make it easy on them either.
No.
We have 50 different versions of regulations and fees to be paid.
Yeah.
So we don't make it easy on these guys, these distillers.
Again, fine.
Yeah. Buy your independent brands. The more you buy, the more they're going to stock.
Well, that's also a perfect example of like the power and the money thing. Everybody's got to have theirs.
Yeah. I'm in a control state, and I tell people all the time, there's a reason why all you see in a control state is Bushmills, Teeling, all the Redbreasts, Powers, Green Spot. Mm-hmm. Little guys, it's tough. It's tough.
It really is. So I mean, we're not near as free market as people think we are.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to something like this that might be considered a vice, or
Yeah.
If
give
you make
the independent brands a shot.
Yeah, if you make a T-shirt, you can sell that online, and you're not going to. It doesn't matter that Walmart or Target or JCPenney's, they're not going to say, "Hey, you better shut down."
Yeah.
But you make, a craft distilled spirit, and everybody and their brothers up in arms. Yeah. So, and yes, things need to be regulated. You can't put a product there that's going to hurt somebody. You can't do that. I mean,
but we need to streamline it a little bit, make it a little easier on them.
Yeah.
It's tough.
It is. It is. This has been so interesting, friend. It really has.
Oh, I'm glad you liked them.
Thank you for sharing this. Again, for Space Leaf Whiskey.
Yeah. Honestly, if you type in, I'm pretty sure I'm the only one. If you type in four-leaf whiskey, all is one word.
You're gonna get there. I'll make sure it's all in the description and everything if it isn't already. We'll tuck you back there. We'll say bye to everybody, but hang around because I want to chat some more about these and talk about some things I think we should do in the future. But yeah, everyone. So thanks so much, everybody.
It was good following in chat. Thank you guys.
And your show is on your live
Sundays at 6 p.m. I think Eastern Standard Time. I think I'm gonna do a bourbon plate this weekend, although I won't be going live in 2 weeks because I'll be down at Bourbon on the Banks. But
awesome, great.
Oh, thank you, Mark. Appreciate it.
Yes, thank you, babe. Appreciate it. He's got a great. He's so handy. Thank you, hon. I appreciate that. All right, Stacie, hang back. I'll be right there. Thanks, friend. Y'all, this is so much fun. I just the geekdom and learning about something that you don't know, from someone who really has the passion. Again, please go subscribe if you have not subscribed to Stacie's channel. She has such a wealth of information. She's going to give you really great ideas and, steer you down your path of looking into Irish style and Irish whiskeys for sure. People over in Ireland know who she is, and she's in our backyard, y'all. I'm going to attempt to get her to come over to my side of the world and do some Scotch tastings pretty soon. So I'll be talking to her about that here in a minute. Thank you so much. Next week, we are going to do another American Single Malt, still in this series. And then we'll be talking about some Scotch the week after that. But next week, things should still be lined up and all for Virginia Distillery to be our guest, their blender as well as their cask representative. Both of them are going to be on the show. You might remember I did a Camp Dram on the Courage and Conviction Virginia Distillery, and it's really eye-opening for an American Single Malt out of Virginia, of course. So next week, come back, have fun. this week. Enjoy your time. Drink well. And until next Tuesday night, Slange y'all.